Hey everybody, this is Steve Krause. I'm coming at you the Friday before our winter break. Um, just a couple of really brief announcements about where things are. I've got this cold, this nasty cold that's been going around, and I'm kind of moving in slow motion. And that combined with other things with life and everything else, I'm behind on grading things. But I'm making steady progress, and my hope is to be done grading things up to this point in the class, of course, today or tomorrow, maybe Sunday. I'd like to have some break time over my winter break, and so I'd like to try to clear this out. Now, I've done this for some of you already, and what I'm doing is I'm going through the emails that people have sent me about the participation grade, and then I'm using that as an opportunity to respond about participation grade, respond about the revision of your YouTube Ancient Style project, and respond about Style 1, Part 1 of the Style project, and about the blogs up to this first point. Okay, now, just to sort of explain overall how this all figures out in terms of the grade. The grade, the grade for the first part of the blog postings, everything from the beginning of the class through the second peer review recap, that's the first half of the class, and that's the first part of the grade. Okay, so that's where you have a grade for that. That's what that means for the blogs part one. The participation part one is basically everything from the beginning of class up until now, and this is where I'm reading over your emails and entering into a dialogue and things like that, and I give you a grade for that. And that's participation part one. Okay. Now, both of these grades are essentially done deals in the sense that once you get a grade on it, you're done, and then we move on to the second part of the term. So, for example, if you were behind in the blogs, and most people are staying pretty on top of it. So we're actually in pretty good shape this term on that. But if you were behind on the blogs, there's no point in making up previous blog entries after I assign a grade on it. Just keep moving on with the second ones. Same sort of thing with participation. There's no point in going back and participating in previous conversations. Just press forward with the second part of the term. Okay. Um, the grade I'm giving for the revised version of the YouTube and Ancient Style project is, and I also add more commentary about what I thought of your project. All this grade information, of course, is on EMU Online. It's not on your blogs or on the class website. You have to go to EMU Online and log into it the way that you log into stuff for the gradebook. And you should be able to see my comments. And what I typically do when I read these essays is I read the essay online and then I type comments as I read, bullet points as I'm reading through your essay. So it's almost like the bullet points are almost like marginal comments. My dog is barking at something downstairs. I don't know what. Sorry, but the comments on EMU Online for your essays are almost like the kind of thing that I would write in the margins if we were, like in a paper-oriented kind of class. And then I assigned a grade for that project. Now, if you're not happy with the grade that you have for the Ancient Style project, even after revising it in light of the style manuals, you can still revise that, and I'll mention that in a second. Then there's also a grade for, or not a grade yet, there's a commentary for Style Part 1. And what I did there is I read through your analysis of how you apply the style manuals to the YouTube Ancient Style project. And then I leave my commentary for the Style Part 1 on that little essay that you're supposed to write, reflecting on the process on the style assignment. Is this complicated enough? But hopefully it'll all make sense. If you do have any questions about it, be sure to ask. You'll notice that there's not a grade for that part yet. That's because there's one grade for Style Part 1 and Style Part 2. And so I have to wait until after Style Part 2 is due after the break to write commentary, write a grade and more commentary on that. Okay, I hope that all vaguely makes sense. If it doesn't, for goodness sakes, please do ask questions. Now, over the break, I'm not going to do anything too exciting. We're not going anywhere. I'm just staying here and getting caught up on stuff and hopefully getting over this cold. If you're going someplace fun, that's great. I'm not really going to have time to meet with anybody, but if you send me an email about something that you're working on, like the Style Part 2 or whatever else, if you want to set up an appointment to talk about revisions after the break, that's cool, and I'll probably be able to respond to it. The other thing that you could do if you wanted to have some. This is actually the kind of thing you could kind of read on the beach for fun if you're going someplace fun. Is the McCloud's Understanding Comics. It really is a very readable kind of book, and so if you want to get a little bit ahead, that's not a bad thing to do. One last thing about revisions, and I explained this in the syllabus too. You can revise each of the 4 major projects for the term. The major projects being the ancient style, applying ancient style rules to the YouTube videos, the style projects part 1 and part 2, the comic / visual rhetoric assignment, which will start, well, we're kind of starting now, but we'll really get into in earnest after the break, and the collaborative video / individual essay about the process. Okay, you can revise each and every one of those projects. There's only some basic rules that I spell on the syllabus that I'll repeat now. The first rule is that you can only revise it once, and this is because I don't want to enter into this sort of discussion. Like, I have glasses, and when you go to the eye doctor, for those of you who have glasses, and many of you probably been to an eye doctor, when they do that thing, they go, that little thing that you look through to get your eyes checked, and then they say, is it better now? It's better this one or this one? This one or this one? You know what I mean? And I don't want to get into, is it a B+ yet? What if I had a comma here? Then is it a B+? So you get one shot at it, okay? That's thing number 1. Thing number 2 is that it's due at the end of the term. And I won't really look at the revisions until the end of the term when I'm trying to figure out final grades. And the third thing is that you have to physically come see me or talk with me on the phone. And I think that just about all of you are geographically located in Southeast Michigan, so physically come see me would be the optimal solution, and we can set up an appointment for that. And the last piece of advice I would have about revisions is revise wisely, because the thing is that you have to think about it in terms of the whole overall grade. I mean, I know that everybody wants to revise things to make stuff better, and I think that's admirable. But if you do a revision for something and it's not going to really help your grade for the class, it's probably not time well spent. You probably should use the time to do something else, either for this class or another class or something like that. Okay, I think I've covered everything. Hopefully my head cold will go away and it'll make more sense in the near future. And hopefully I'll give you comments on projects. And I'm about halfway through, so you may want to go check EMU online. I may have already graded the stuff that I mentioned in this video. And if not, I'll get to your stuff very soon. Okay, have a good break. See you online.